Hi again, I'm Alex.
Lynn.
And if you're watching this, you made it to episode 2, where we go from Berlin down to Prague. So, in this episode, we'll be covering the first, roughly, we'll say, day and a third, because we arrived later on the first day. But yeah, there was a lot of footage, so we had to split into two episodes. But, anyways, hope you enjoy. If you watched the previous episode, you remember we left for Prague around 5 p.m., departing from Berlin. So we took a train through the former East Germany, and the scenery outside was actually quite nice. And the train itself was also fairly pleasant. It had compartments which we shared with a couple of other people. And if you see me wandering around, I was actually looking, not only trying to explore the car, but also trying to find a dining car, which in reality didn't exist. But we still tried, and we enjoyed the scenery while we were on our way to Prague. And on our way to experience something we hadn't really before, i.e., a place with a language where we had no familiarity. Obviously, we'll cover that more the further we go into the video, but I didn't think we really knew what we were in for.
Agree.
Yeah, so, but you'll see more of that as we progress in our journey. Okay, so we're currently in a grocery store in Prague. We made it in earlier, I guess about 45 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago. Anyways, we checked in. Unfortunately, we didn't really have any food. There weren't too many options nearby, so we walked to a grocery store. You find something?
I don't know what it says.
You don't know what it says. Well, don't ask me.
This looks like pesto or something.
Twists. It's got to be like cheese and spinach, right? Yeah, picking out pastries that we don't necessarily know what's in. You could use the Google Lens Translate or something. Okay, well, maybe I should sign off then. We'll talk again tomorrow. So it's now morning of the 9th, or on the 9th, and we're in Prague. We're in our hotel room here. Not too big, but the price was pretty good. No TV, but you get breakfast, so you can't have everything. Here's the in here.
Hi.
And we're getting ready to go out. So first I want to stop by an arena near here that has a fan shop for a hockey team, of course. And then we'll go walk around near the main station because the language is hard. I don't know anything. We try to learn a few phrases here and there. What do you have to say?
Dobry den.
Dobrý den, yeah. We know that. Prosím is please. Ano is yes. No is ne. I forget thank you. I think informally it's like deek or something. But maybe we have to be more polite. But yeah, I'll go walk around in the city filming, and then we'll probably film a bit more here. So yeah. Okay, we can take this one. So once we arrived at the central station, or Hlavní nádraží in Czech, we decided to make a beeline for the Jewish quarter because I had heard about it before, and I've always had an interest in Jewish things, so I thought it'd be interesting to see. But first, we had to find our bearings, and we saw a bookstore in the central station, and we like bookstores, so of course we had to check it out. And luckily, they had things like a hockey puck, a Czech flag, We didn't end up buying them, but I thought it was interesting coming from a place where not too many people like hockey. So a good sign for things in store. After getting a general idea of where to go, we left the station and headed out into the streets. And we assumed we would run into some things along the way which we didn't expect, but the one thing I didn't expect to run into was Jewish things before getting to the Jewish quarter. But as you'll see here, when we're walking down the street, we happened to run into what was,
Is
I believe, I'm not sure, I don't remember the name of the
is
synagogue,
this
but I'll add it into
international
the text of the
synagogue?
video. But we decided it was worth a look, and now we'll take you on a little tour of the inside.
150.
I ended up taking a fair amount of footage in the synagogue because, well, as you see, I thought it was quite a sight to behold. And on the upper floor, although I didn't include the footage, they did have some exhibits about Jewish life in Prague and so on and so forth. And overall, it was definitely worth the visit. So if you're in Prague, definitely check out the Jerusalem synagogue for just a brief stay, even. It's worth it. After concluding our tour of the synagogue, we continued on our stroll towards the Jewish quarter. But along the way, Prague had surprisingly a lot to offer, including a medieval tower leading into the city center, as you see in the video, along with the old town square, which included a church, which had amongst other things, an astronomical clock, which was 600 years old and very popular with tourists, but I didn't get a video of it here because it was quite swamped and I didn't want to get my pocket picked. But overall, very pleasant stroll. And we did happen to see a museum there, which we thought might be interesting. They happened to have an exhibit about ice hockey. We decided not to go in, but we still managed to get a picture. After getting a closer look at the astronomical clock and deciding to forego the museum, we continued onwards towards the Jewish quarter, which at this point was very close. And as you'll see in the video, we enter the quarter, and it becomes immediately apparent that we are in the quarter because we happen to encounter several synagogues and Jewish restaurants and other things too, which was quite a different experience compared to what I'm used to, because I think in Denmark they have one kosher restaurant. Um, but we were trying to find the entrance to the old Jewish cemetery, but it turns out we had gone the wrong way. But we managed to find the right way, get the tickets, and went in. Seeing the cemetery, you're probably wondering, why are all those graves so close together and so disheveled? Well, the interesting fact is the Jewish cemetery had struggled for centuries with a lack of space. So every time they ran out of space, they would put a new layer of soil on the old layer of soil so as not to disturb the old graves and then simply put the new graves on top of those old graves. So in some cases, you actually have graves up to, or places with up to 12 graves deep with the headstones all on top, interestingly enough. So that was quite a sight to see. Once we found our way out of the labyrinth that was the old Jewish cemetery, we thought, what better way to cap a morning in the Jewish quarter than to go get some Jewish food? So we ended up returning to a restaurant we actually passed on the way to the Jewish cemetery, which was called Golem, named after the famous clay figure built by a rabbi, which supposedly would come to life and defend the Jewish community from threats. And it's still popular today. I guess around 2 p.m. in Prague, We just finished having a bit of a late lunch at a Jewish restaurant in the Jewish quarter. We've been doing Jewish stuff all morning. Started with the synagogue that we didn't plan to visit. Went into it, pretty cool. Then went to the old Jewish cemetery, which is part of the Jewish museum. Yeah, that was
Not
neat.
showing at all.
Down there, Lynn wants to be seen. So, yeah, pretty full now. So we'll go to the river and see what's around there, or just relax a bit, because we're trying not to do too much. We've already done a fair amount, more than I expected. So, and it's pretty damn hot. So, yeah, let's see.
But it's not like blazing.
Not blazing, but in the sun it's pretty intense. Alright, that's enough. Having had our fill of the Jewish quarter today, we, as I stated, continued towards the Danube River. And as you can see here, it was also quite a pretty sight. You can see Prague Castle on the other side as well, which we will actually go to the next day, so stay tuned. But we did head towards the bridge, and unfortunately, in the afternoon on a weekend, it's quite crowded and quite hot. But it was still interesting to cross and see what was on the other side.
Agree.
Yeah, come on.
I don't know what to say.
But you had ideas. I wonder if we should just add this as it is to see if it's the process, because we still have a minute and 20 seconds left. Anyways, we were continuing on down the bridge, and it was very hot. So we had thought maybe it was time to go to a park or something and cool off, which we actually did after this video was taken. We didn't take video of the park, unfortunately, but it was a nice respite from the heat, which was quite brutal that day, as you can see by my emoji choice earlier. And after that, we decided to go back to the city center just to look around a bit, see if there was anything there. Having already seen some historic Prague sites that day, we decided to see some more newly built up parts of Prague. And we took the tram closer to near where the National Museum is, which we actually go to the next day. So you'll see some of that in the next episode. But other than that, we had just, again, decided to take a saunter, look around, see what we could find. We did find a bookstore, which would be interesting, except we have basically no idea what any of the books say, aside from ones for learning Czech, which I briefly considered, but Lynn wisely advised me to reconsider because that didn't make any sense. Because I didn't see us moving there anytime soon. But anyways, we did find some parks, found the bookstore, and there were some Asian stores as well, which you'll see in this video here. And even though we did not capture it on film, we did actually go to a Jewish store, which was not in the Jewish quarter, but in another part of Prague, and bought some matzah because Lynn happens to like it, and I do too. But after that, we had just decided to go back to where our hotel was and chill for a bit just to get out of the heat because I think we had had enough for one day. Bit of a tram traffic jam. Since we had to go back through the central station on our route home, anyways, we decided to check out the old dome of the central station of Slavni nad Radži, which was a bit hard to find. We did manage to find our way, but other than that, yeah, you can see it here. Cool, but not really anything to write home about. Then back to the hotel. There's some fast elevators. Escalators? Damn it. That's not going in the final cut. We did manage to take a break from the heat in our unfortunately non air conditioned hotel room. And because we had no food, we decided the best thing to do was probably go to the grocery store. And the nearest one was about a 15-minute walk away. So we proceeded to explore the area around Holeszowice, I believe it's called, the train station near where our hotel was. And not the most scenic walk, but it's still something. And I learned a new Czech word.
Czekajcie. That's fair. Yeah, I like Chinese characters, but it's sort of a, I understand why they're frustrating, or I understand why Mao thought they needed to get rid of them to advance.
Yeah, well, we're in a Czech supermarket now. Lynn wanted to show the pizza section, or the section with sausages.
A purse for your every need.
Yeah, I think they have pizza for pretty much any occasion here. Well, sausages. Yeah, this is a supermarket in the outer section of Prague. You get a discount, save 25% on carrot cake. Confito, and then some other things that are a bit difficult to pronounce. Yeah, a lot of desserts. But what is it? Kazeta. Yeah, well, we don't know. I feel like if you really want to know a country, you should go to a supermarket in one. That's always been my line of thinking. Yeah, more sausages.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I guess. That's, yeah. If you go to convenience stores or,
Even more giant purse.
but those are meant for slicing. You know, like bologna or something.
Or like
Yeah, yeah. Where do you think this? What do you think the this salami looks like before you cut it?
stop.
It doesn't come from the animal pre-slice.
It just poops it out.
No. All right. I think that's enough for now. And that concludes episode 2 of our Interrail series. And in the next episode, we'll cover day 2 and 3 of our journey through Prague. So, any thoughts on Prague?
I really liked it.
Yeah, Prague was an interesting place. Obviously, we had been to Berlin before, and we hadn't been on the other side of the Iron Curtain. So, that was, yeah, quite an experience, language barriers aside. But there is still a lot to see in the second day as well. So hope you'll stay tuned for the next one. So thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll be out with the next one within a few weeks, give or take, depending on how long editing takes. So see ya.
Bye bye.